Speaking, obviously, Don, Chelsea as well, and we are going to get into the transfer stories later in the show, ladies and gentlemen, so stay with us. Also talking Arsenal on the show a little bit as well. But Chelsea, we'll get onto your game in a minute, but I want to get your opinion on a big story that's circulating today about Balogun, that you've held third round of talks with his representation to try and buy him from Arsenal. And according to a few outlets this afternoon, they're now stating that Chelsea are serious about bringing him in from Arsenal. You as a Chelsea fan, Don, is that the answer to solve your fix your goal strike team?
Listen, I don't know what they're seeing in Balogun. I'm not sure what they're seeing in Brendan Johnson, but listen, I'm not for the move. I'm not for this move. You know, it's underwhelming for me. I'm not going to lie and say that I saw much of Balogun last season, but when I've spoken to a few people that did, they said he scored quite a few penalties. And just overall, when I've seen him playing pre-season for Arsenal, even that last game when he played the first game against Brentford, it's not someone that I'm looking at and thinking, yeah, I want him at Chelsea. I just kind of looked at him and said, you know what, he might be worth an opportunity at Arsenal. So yeah, man, I'm just a bit underwhelmed. I'm a bit confused by it. You know, I haven't seen anything today. Who's reported this, Terry? I've actually missed that.
I'll have to go and check. And a few out. Sky Tour, Talksport have put it out there, and a few other outlets as well have spoken about it.
I know that his team's been spoken to because Secret Scout spoke about it. But listen, hopefully we don't actually go ahead with it because I don't want Balogun. In all honesty, I do not want Balogun. But we'll see what happens.
So who's gonna score goals?
Someone else other than Balogun, bro. I don't want him.
I feel like Chelsea would
gonna score goals.
I feel like Chelsea wouldn't be a good move for Balogun either. In terms of personality, like if there was the one big thing that Arsenal fans, if they don't like Balogun or the way he rubs Arsenal fans up the wrong way, is he seems to want to be a big fish in a small pond rather than kind of just a good squad player at Arsenal. I think we saw that with his move to USMNT instead of sticking it out and trying to make it at England. And if he goes into that Chelsea squad, where he certainly wouldn't be a big fish, I feel like the exact problems that we've already had with him already would be worse, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, can I really rate him? I rate him. Like, Northside, your point of view as a gooner, would you be worried if he joined Chelsea that he could, set them alight in terms of scoring goals, or are you happy to take the money and not worry about him anymore? You're on mute, by the way, bro. Sorry.
Did you ask me?
Yes, bro. Yeah.
So, yeah, for me, I'd be more worried in keeping Nketiah. I think Nketiah's had his time at the club. He ain't good enough. That Philo Laporta cannot be consistent enough. Even when you go back to 2 years ago, yeah, that guy's an absolute bum. Oh, Nketiah can do a job. 10 games to go. The guy wasn't good enough, innit? He scored a brace against Chelsea and made his name off of a little brace. But in terms of consistency, he ain't consistent enough. And for me, Balogun could be a Gnabry part 2. Unless we give him a try, we'll never know. Gnabry never got a chance at Arsenal, and look where he went to do. And we kept Iwobi. And what was Iwobi? That Philo Laporta was trash. The whole fan base wanted to justify that guy, yeah? And now, look now. Yeah? Look now. You know what I mean? Ever since Nketiah's done that, Nketiah in the room has only scored 1 goal, and these men are twerking for him. Now I'm not hearing none of it. At the end of the day, I don't understand why certain players, yeah, like ESR, he's got talent, yeah, but he's always injured. People want to give him a go. But when it's a player like Balogun, oh, now we'll get rid of him. Why? Why? Because the same clubs that are in for Balogun ain't looking at Nketiah. So what are those other clubs? What are those clubs seeing? Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, to write off a player that hasn't had a chance at Arsenal. And no offense to the other Arsenal fan, but he's saying, no, he doesn't want to be a squad player. Good. Because I'm sick and tired of these bums at this club, yeah, being happy just being a squad player. El Nene, Rob Holding, robbing the living, not doing enough. I like ambitious players because I want my club to be ambitious. Not be on the bench, be a side man, be a coleslaw from Nando's and just be happy about doing nothing, twerking for top 4. Let's go and actually win something. So that's how I look at it. At the end of the day, I'm not going to write off the kid. I understand why the Chelsea fan may not want him because they need somebody that's going to guarantee 20 goals to 25 goals a season. He's not going to guarantee you that. But in what world do we justify, that bombing Havertz and that bombing Nketiah, but we're ready to get rid of Balogun? Based off of what? The guy had a good preseason. Why would we not keep him? But Eddie Nketiah, oh, it's okay. We got a little TikTok song for him, so keep him on. No, I'm not with this Bukaria. For me, get rid of him.
You're not providing a solution. The guy doesn't want to play second fiddle to anybody.
I don't care.
What do you mean you don't care? How are you gonna keep the guy in your club? Come on, just okay. Be logical.
Mo, do you want Balogun? Are you happy with Balogun? Because he's linked to Inter. He's linked to Inter.
I don't know about him. I haven't watched him in one game, so I don't know about him. Okay, but my point, North side, you're saying keep the guy. Yeah, he doesn't want to be there.
Are you happy to stay there? If you're the manager,
happy keeping the guy that doesn't want to be there?
Is he under contract?
But that's the thing. If you're the manager right now, how are you convincing him? He's coming to you saying, "Listen, boss, I want to leave. I want to be a first man. I want to be a first choice striker. I want to go to a different team." You want him because you rate him. How are you convincing him to stay? Because as Mo said it, he said it very easily. He doesn't want to stay. So what are you doing?
I would get rid of Nketiah. I wouldn't mind getting rid of Balogun, yeah, and go and get me a proper striker.
Oh, so you just offered a different solution completely.
Okay, so you're here to complain about Nketiah. We're talking about Balogun. Okay, so let's just get it straight. Eddie Nketiah got offered a contract, shambolic by the club. You called it out 100 times on your channel and every other channel, right? Now Balogun is linked to Chelsea. You want to keep him at your club. He doesn't want to stay at your club because he don't want to play second fiddle to anybody. What's the solution?
Then charge whatever club is coming for him. Just charge him extortionate amount of money and get rid of him. That's it. Like, I'm not saying that I'm gonna. What I'm saying is, I think the player's got a high ceiling. He's not there yet, and I understand why Chelsea don't want him when they can go out for other targets, especially if they're gonna have to play, 60, 70 mil. Not saying that that's what he's valued, but there's not many top strikers, and he's one that's on the rise and's got hype. So let's cash in on the hype and go get me a proper striker that's actually going to be able to deliver. That's all I'm saying.
Well, Ivan Toney was chatting about you guys today on that podcast. I see him saying it. But maybe he's doing a Caicedo. I swear I've seen interviews of Caicedo over the last 3 years talking about 6 different teams.
But I feel like Tony there must be something in that though, because he was prompted by what's his name, Stephen Bartlett, to talk about Liverpool. He was like, "Oh, you supported Liverpool from your childhood, right?" And he just immediately started talking about how much he loves Arsenal and how much he loves the way Arsenal play. So there's got to be more in that than just he's wanted to talk up Arsenal.
Yeah. Oh, you're clutching. You are clutching. I want that. I want Tony. If you're talking to me about strikers, don't talk to me about Balogun. Don't talk to me about Brennan Johnson. Talk to me about Ivan Toney in January.
But he's not talking about you.
I'd rather we give. Listen, I don't care if he doesn't talk about us. If we come calling, you know what happens, innit? You know what happens when Chelsea come calling and you lot are interested.
You're not happy
with.
What happens, so Don, right? You're not happy with Jackson that's gonna bang 20 goals. Then you want another striker.
No. Where did I say Jackson's gonna bang 20 goals? You said that. Well, Jackson definitely needs a bit of a backup. Like, I'd rather we play Broja when he's back fit, have him as a little bit of an understudy to Jackson, and go in for like a Tony if we can't get right now, if it's not feasible to go out and get Osimhen. That's not looking feasible.
Tony is the backup to Jackson, or Jackson is the backup?
Tony will be the main. Tony will be the main. He's clinical, man. He's more rounded.
What about Balogun?
I don't want Balogun. That's what I'm saying. I'd rather go for a Tony. I'd rather if we can't get anyone right now, like I said, like Tony right now, I'd rather we just go with Broja up until January at least. And then you bring in a Tony and see him up for the rest of the season. For me, if we've got Broja there, I don't see the need to bring in a Balogun. I'll be real with you, because I liked what I saw of Broja at Southampton. He reminded me a lot of Diego Costa. Quite aggressive, a bit of a good finisher. I don't know if you guys remember the goal he scored against Wolves last season as well. I'd rather give him an opportunity to see what he can do. I don't want Balogun. And if we do bring him in, he proves me wrong. Listen, I'll hold my hands up and say I didn't want this guy, but he's proved me wrong. But as it is right now, I would rather not. I'd rather go for Tony in January, in all honesty.
Do you know that I want to say something? Do you know I said something yesterday? Chelsea, the definition of incompetence, of spending close to 1 billion and turning into a 20 years old striker whose first team experience is 26 games in League One. That's the definition of incompetence of running a football club.
What
now you are? I don't know. I don't care. Listen, Don. I don't care. You spend that much money, you should have a decent backup. Yesterday, you wanted a striker, and I see someone I've never heard of, 20 years old, and I go look the guy up. He has 26 games as a first teamer playing in League One. If any other club does that, you would call them incompetent. What happened yesterday is incompetence.
I wouldn't call it. I wouldn't call it incompetent, because it's not our fault that Nkunku got injured in training and not in training, sorry, in the game in preseason, and now he's out till January because he could potentially have played as a second striker yesterday.
No,
we don't know what tactics would have gone with.
But that's the point.
Not what Mo's
And but what you're saying right now is Broja's not fit either, bro. We can't bring him in. You're right in saying that, yes, bringing in that player, that young player, I didn't expect him to be on the bench. But right now, literally, bro, Broja's not fit. Broja would have definitely been on the bench if he was fit yesterday. The other guy that came on yesterday, he's the next option after Broja, is what I'm saying. But if you look at the striking market right now, it's peak. That's why we're looking at players like Balogun. But for me, not for me. Not for me at all, Mo.
I mean, you guys need goals though, because obviously yesterday we saw the best and worst so far of this Chelsea team, controlling the game, moving the ball well, but in the end, not able to finish your dinner and being caught on that break. From a rivals watching Chelsea yesterday, I mean, we had a gal that came on the show and said, "This is it for your season. You won't get any better," kind of writing them off, saying they don't have the patience to allow Poch to kind of settle. But a goal scorer is obviously needed. What do people make of Chelsea's performance yesterday? I mean, one of the comments here says, Don, you said Enzo would unlock low blocks. And obviously you didn't in the end. Rivals, what do we make of Chelsea's performance yesterday? And is this just teething problems or are there still massive holes in this side? What are we saying?
Yeah, I mean, they've got so many players. Like I said, this, a lot of people after the first game against Liverpool said, Chelsea are nailed on for a top 4 finish. And I said, yeah, they've got a good team, a good squad, but it's going to take Poch ages to understand his first 11, his first 15. There's a lot of teething problems. To write them off, a gal is a gal, and he's going to come here, he's going to trigger people, he's going to say wild stuff, so reactionary. But it's going to take a while, and this is where other teams that are probably a bit more set, a bit more, even though for us we've got a new manager and a lot of new players, we kind of know our first 11. Chelsea have bought so many players, which can be a good thing, but I feel it can also be a bad thing because the chemistry and cohesion, and someone doesn't have a good game, they get thrown out, rotated, and it's hard to get momentum with a set or solid 11.
Pedro, you make a good point.
Yeah.
I was
going to say, people getting onto Enzo. He had a good game yesterday, man. People need to watch football, stop the agendas. Enzo had some good passes. He did basically unlock that low block. But people don't finish their dinner. That's not his fault. Sterling tripping over the ball when he was through on goal. Sterling was good and direct, but again, that's not really the Sterling that we know of. Yeah, Nicholas Jackson is okay, but he's quite raw and he's not had a lot of real first game experience. What Mo was saying about essentially Balogun is the same as Nicholas Jackson. I don't know, man. Chelsea are on paper, they're a good team, they got a good squad, but I just feel there's too many players coming in at the same time. It's very hard for a manager to hit the ground running when there's so much going on.
I get where you're coming from, but I don't think the issue here right now is there's too many players coming in. I think the main problem that we had yesterday is Poch went back to a back three that he used against Liverpool. I got why he did it against Liverpool, because at that point we didn't have Caicedo, we didn't have Alavia, needs must to pack out that midfield. But to go again yesterday and play a back three when you know that West Ham are literally going to be playing how they were playing the whole game. These men were playing like they had 10 men from the beginning. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So why do you think he did that?
Why do you think he did that?
Let me finish my point, bro. Yeah. The reason why he did that is because West Ham, in my opinion, obviously they've got two players, like I said yesterday, and when it comes to set pieces, I think he went for a little bit more height, a little bit more physicality at the back, and someone to deal with Antonio. That obviously didn't work for that second goal. Look what Antonio did to Disasi and Colwell. But for me, before the game, I said this is not the lineup I would have played all throughout preseason. We played a 4-2-3-1, and we looked really fluid in it. We looked really good in it. When we went to a back three against Wrexham in the second half, we didn't look good. We didn't look as fluid. If you realize in that first half, when we were playing, we were taking a little too long on the ball. I kept saying it, come on, we need a little bit more intensity. And then, I would say the last half an hour, the first half, we should have buried at least 2-3 chances. Do you get it? We should have buried at least 2-3 chances. People were saying that Enzo didn't unlock that defense. Did you see that ball that he played to Sterling when Sterling fluffed his lines and nearly fell over?
Exactly.
We just didn't take opportunities.
Don, that's exactly what I just said. It's not Enzo's fault if people are going to fall over the ball. Enzo did his part. People have got to finish their dinner, and obviously agenda's going to run. Caicedo had a stinker. Let's be honest. He
had a howler.
Didn't have a good. But
he had a howler. You can see that he's not fit. You can see that he's not fit and not ready to start the game.
Why you play 3 in the back? Do you want to tell you my